Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of the United States of a Movie Podcast. We're the movie podcast that likes to make every Monday a fun day because we get together and we talk movies, but we have a purpose because we are the movie podcast that is trying to find one movie to define each state in these United States. We have just started our second road trip, all 50 state road trip. We're on state number 2. We're still feeling good. No one's complaining. Not one person has asked, are we there yet? We've barely even had to stop for anyone to pee. Honestly, we're cruising, and we're heading to the state of Arizona, a state where we all met. This is like heading home for all of us. But before we get into the whole debacle that is some of these movies that we're going to talk about this week, let's welcome everybody back to the show. First of all, Ryan Sandler, as always, welcome back, buddy. Looking great.
It's so good to be here. I spent most of the morning re-listening to our previous Arizona episode, and what a treat that was. I gotta say, it's going to be a tough one to top.
This actually is going to be a pretty tough month, especially because one of these movies is an absolute classic that I think none of you had seen until this week. Absolutely bonkers. Will Hirsch, as always, sitting in his favorite spot in Los Angeles, where he goes to rent his DVDs. Tell us where you are and what's going on, buddy.
Well, virtually I'm in Videotech, but physically I'm back in Arizona, which is apropos for this week.
He flew in just for this episode.
And I kind of wish I stayed in LA after watching one of these movies, let me tell you.
Oh.
Yeah, no, boo. I'm already booing you. It's going to be one of those episodes, isn't it?
I'm fully ready to be full heel for this episode. I can't wait. I'm going full on Undertaker.
So this season, nothing has changed.
But we do have another special guest joining us. Someone else also from Arizona, someone else that we also all met when we worked on the same TV show right this minute, back in the day. A huge movie fan. Currently sitting by the looks of it in the Batcave, Adam Coppola, buddy. Welcome to the show.
Hello everybody. Thanks for having me be here.
It's so great to have you. Much to Will's dismay, we worked really hard to get a Coppola on this podcast.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Francis, Roman, and the dog.
He's making Megalopolis too, so
hard no. So we settled for the third Coppola.
Yeah, I'm the closest thing you're going to get to Nick Cage too. So.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That's very true. Very true.
Yeah, well, it turns out, last week we did have The Rock, which is a Nicolas Cage, William Forsythe movie. So we decided to mix things up this week by picking a Nicolas Cage, William Forsythe movie.
I think I wrote in the title, I think this is my second favorite Nicolas Cage, William Forsythe prison movie.
Yeah.
It's a short list.
I think
also
that's going to be the theme for the season. The theme for the season is 50 states of William Forsythe and Nicolas Cage. Ooh. We're going to find one every state. We're going to get a movie with them. That is our promise to you for...
Yep. That's our spin-off.
That's the guarantee. Yeah.
Yep. So, okay, now as I established a little bit earlier, so Ryan and Will had never seen Raising Arizona. Adam, surely you've seen this before.
All right, so I totally thought I did, but I didn't. I did not know that latter half of the movie. I knew the beginning. I knew John Goodman coming out of the ground. Great. I knew all that, but nope, could not remember the whole action sequence.
Because you are 3 of the biggest movie fans that I know personally. And Raising Arizona is not a small movie. I mean, sure, when it came out, it initially was it came out. People didn't quite go and see it because it kind of got lost in the wash of all the Brat Pack movies. But it has a strong cult following of everyone that's ever seen it. Now, guys, surely...
Well, it's one of those movies that's in the zeitgeist. You know it without having to actually seen it.
For sure. I felt the same way. I was expecting a completely different movie because I really knew nothing about this one. I knew it was the second Coen Brothers film. I haven't seen Blood Simple either. But this was a rare blind spot for me in their filmography for sure.
All right. So now you guys have seen it. It's pretty fucking awesome, right?
It's incredible.
Oh, okay. Adam's an incredible. Ryan's a meh. And Will, hot take incoming?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Ryan on this. Like, I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it, but
it's not my favorite Coen Brothers movie. No.
Yeah, I'm not adding it to the Blu-ray collection anytime soon.
Ooh.
Wow.
Well, you might as well just drop the C word. And
I'll do it again.
10 more minutes, I might,
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm sitting in front of my movie collection to homage you, Will.
Oh, I appreciate it. They are all Batman.
All right? Batman.
I mean, it's mostly mostly this first, from here to about here is all Batman.
And how many of those are Star Treks?
Hopefully the other half, right?
None of them.
Yeah. The rest of them.
The correct answer is 0.
Now, I am stunned and a little disappointed. Seriously, guys, because Mrs. was watching it with me, and we're like, this movie is so funny, and it knows exactly what it's doing, and knows exactly what it wants in the moment. It's going at breakneck speed. It's so goofy and so random, and times so colorful and wacky and out there. And I'm like, I can't wait.
I think that's part of my issue with it. Is I think I was expecting a little more of a straightforward film. Like, had this been like my second watch of it, I'd feel very different, but going into it first, I mean, it is basically a live action cartoon, like from start to finish.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't get that vibe like immediately when he goes to take the baby.
Well, it's so funny you say that, because the whole time I'm watching that scene, I'm like, oh, this is just like the opening scene to Roger Rabbit. Like, it's very, I think it leaned too far into the absurdist, and that it caught me by surprise. So I was like, oh, it's this kind of film.
So
I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. But
really quickly then, so which Coen brothers were you expecting? Were you expecting a No Country for Old Men?
I'm more of a Barton Fink kind of guy.
That movie is weird too.
Yeah.
So
it's a different kind of weird though. Like we'll get into it later, but and we've talked before about how sometimes mood can affect like how you're watching. So I might have just been in a funky mood, which is weird because I hadn't watched Just One of the Guys yet. But I remember watching it being like, I enjoy this, but I'm also cool if like this is the only time I see the movie. Like there were things I loved. I loved the Bounty Hunter. I loved everything with him.
Yeah. Famously from Ace Ventura, sure. Yeah.
Yes.
I clocked him immediately.
God, that's why he looks so familiar. I was like, why do I know this guy?
He's a very distinctive look.
Get away from the door.
Randall Tex Cobb. Yeah. He's a
great name.
Oh yeah. He was cool. So there were things in it that I did like, but I think overall I was kind of left with like, this is a little, we put the silly meter up a little too high.
Especially after re-listening to our previous episode, talking about like used cars, how that was like very much a Zemeckis cartoon. This had a very similar feel to it, except I kind of hated every single character in this movie. Like, they're all terrible.
That might have also been it too. Is like there wasn't a character where I was like, oh, I'm really rooting for this person. I was like,
not even the baby
kind of sucked. Yeah, the baby worst of all. I mean, let me tell you.
If you want a better movie, just watch Baby's Day Out. It's Raising Arizona from the perspective of the baby.
Honestly, when the baby started like crawling towards the stairs, I was like, is this just Baby's Day Out? Like, I don't.
That whole scene with the
Train Spotting had more endearing babies.
Jesus Christ. I swear.
Agree.
I'm not ready
Hard
for these spicy takes. Oh my goodness, guys, we've barely even got into
that said, just
too early for that.
To be clear, I did enjoy this movie. I did, but it's not like I wouldn't put it up there with my favorite of Coen Brothers' work. And I kind of felt the same way, like when we watched "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" Like just didn't click with me in a specific kind of way.
You were a strange, sad little man.
First time.
Like the "Oh Brother" is the kind of silly I like from the Coen Brothers. That's where like my sweet spot for them when they go like cause we talked a little bit on the text thread that there's obviously these guys are best friends with Sam Raimi. It really shows
big time.
But when they start going into his territory, I'm like, Raimi does this better, guys. Like,
it's funny thinking about Oh Brother because that is based off like Homer's Odyssey, right? So the whole time watching this, I'm like, oh, is this kind of like based on like a mythological story wrapped in, this kind of Southwestern tale? But it just never really connected with me.
Yeah, it's actually based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
Yeah.
I mean, the devil or death is in it.
Yeah,
So
and you know what? You're bringing up this possible literary crossover when the other movie that we brought to the table that you selected, Ryan, is technically a modern adaptation of William Shakespeare's
because I'm
Twelfth
fucking
Night.
smart.
So, so okay, we are so far have two of us dismiss what I regard as an absolute classic. So let's also talk about very quickly the other.
It is. I get it. I get it that it is.
Right, you can claim this one. Tell everybody about the movie that you
I picked
chose.
a movie from my childhood, maybe my most paused movie of the 80s. I think most people will agree who've seen this movie. I picked, it was 86 or 85. Yeah, I forgot this came out 2 years before Raising Arizona. So this was, I picked.
And a year after Karate Kid.
That's right. That's right. We'll get into that. I picked 1980. Already forgot the year fives. Just One of the Guys.
Yeah, Just One of the Guys. I'd never heard of it.
Such a boarding school movie too. I'm surprised.
Yeah. It's not a boarding school movie. It's a Phoenix, Arizona, high school movie. Now, these do mention. They're very. I would say that Raising Arizona as the strongest contender for because we are going up against I'm actually wearing the T-shirt right now. It's Wraith in Time T-shirt currently.
Get yours today.
It's no secret to anyone that's ever listened to this podcast or watched it that the Wraith is seen in a very special way at this podcast. Even Mrs. understands it. She's like, no, that movie's dope. It is completely fucking insane.
So much so that I think Adam rewatched that again in preparation for this episode. I told him not to. I was like, we're not going to talk about it, but let's talk about it.
I watched it in 10, 15-minute chunks throughout my day at work.
So the
yesterday.
whole movie, yeah.
Yeah, I watched the whole movie.
All the best parts, all the Wraith and all the Wraith and bits.
You mean Wraith the?
Yeah, so it's
yeah.
It is so this week is going to be tricky for anyone looking to unseat a champion that honestly almost won the whole season last year.
I will say that watching Just One of the Guys through the lens of the Wraith, viewing that movie as a prequel to the Wraith, where it's pretty much there. If you think about it, Sherilyn Finn's character goes through so much trauma in Just One of the Guys that her family has to move her out of high school to Tucson, where she meets Jamie.
She goes through even more trauma.
Does not go well for her, and then
she moves to Twin Peaks. Yeah,
yeah.
Well, we need to talk about the fact that Just One of the Guys is both a sequel to and exists in the universe of The Karate Kid?
With The Karate Kid, yeah.
Because they make a Karate Kid reference in the movie.
Yeah.
But William Zabka is in the movie.
Playing the exact same role.
Playing the exact same role.
Dude. That's one of the notes I had. I was like, Zabka equals great bully.
Yeah. It's part of the bully
cinema's
trilogy.
greatest bully.
Yeah, it was the three-peat bully trilogy. It was Karate Kid, this movie, and I think Back to School. Rodney
I haven't seen that one. Is that all he did for the 80s is beat up people at school? But he's great.
What did you do?
Just lift tables.
Just randomly lift tables. So Just One of the Guys, again, I knew nothing about it. So I was taking notes furiously. And just the beginning of this movie really does try to establish that she is a girl. Because it's just a shot of her legs, then underwear, then a crop top, and I'm like, all right, this is a movie about a girl. But within the first 2 seconds, my first note is just William Zabka? Question mark? Underline. I was like,
I bet he's gonna be the hero.
Hey man.
Wait, that was your other first note? That's 10 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, I had so many more notes before that.
I wrote porno mags at breakfast.
I wrote Playboy at breakfast. Yeah.
What?
My favorite character.
Well, how do you guys start your day?
Well, there you go. Actually, you know what? And Ryan, you bring something up, but because Will during on the text thread kind of posted some sort of GIF reaction or a picture from Always Sunny saying me 25 minutes into Just One of the Guys. I will say that in the first 20 minutes, I was not enjoying Just One of the Guys, but by the end of it, it had actually kind of won me over in a way that I was annoyed by. And
because that's when
was the brother.
Yeah, he's great.
I was feeling the exact same way. I was like, this guy sucks. What is going on here? But then by the end, he just charms you.
No,
I think they tried to take.
I wanted him to die. I hated that brother. Oh,
this is like such an anti-Brat Pack kind of movie for that time period. I think they took all of the lessons and all of the things and just rolled it into this one terrible character who I fucking love.
Like it's directed by a woman, it's written by a guy. But like
you can definitely feel that. Well,
because thing is, okay, so Mrs. Had seen this movie and honestly probably could have done this episode as well. She's familiar with all of the movies that we're doing. But she's like, oh yeah, just one of the guys. Yeah. We used to love it. Used to watch it all the time. And I was like, I'm watching it going, man, like the misogyny that's on display is very, very 80s, especially 40 years in the future, where there's no misogyny anymore in this country. But like, I'm watching this movie.
We got rid of it.
Yeah, right.
We solved it.
And I'm like, Mrs., you liked this movie? You liked this movie? And then by the end of it, I'm like, all right, I kind of understand.
The only thing that could have made it better is if her transition from a woman to a man was because she took the substance.
Yes. That would have been, there we go.
We can all agree that that's an addition to any movie that's welcome.
Thank you, Adam. Yes.
Well, let me give you the plot of just one of the guys, because it is quite strange. Essentially, the lead character played by Joyce Heiser, Terry, is a terrible fucking writer. But she's so stuck up her own ass about her terrible writing that she decides to pose as a boy and go to another high school to prove that her writing is actually really good. And if she put it in as a white man, that she would get ahead in life. And it turns out she's a shit writer. Also, she's got a terrible nose for where a story is and can't see the forest for the fucking trees. But it's okay. By the end of it, she finds a boyfriend.
Now who hates women?
One of my notes was, I'm amazed that the character didn't look into the camera and just go, women, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's where the movie was.
I forgot that she goes to a different high school watching this. Again, I'm like, oh,
that makes sense, though.
It wouldn't make sense for her to go to the same high school because all she did was cut her hair and put on different clothes.
Right. But it is also a movie.
Also, she lowered her voice.
Yeah, she does, honestly. She did actually do pretty well when she's being a boy, but
she made a hot dude. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, right. But this is a movie that can only be made in the 80s because one of the big plot points is their parents have left a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old at home for 2 weeks by themselves during the school year to take a Caribbean vacation.
The connection here being, Raising Arizona is a film about becoming parents, and Just One of the Guys is a movie where parents don't exist. So
they do not.
Yes, little overlap here. Yeah. Like not even a mention. I think there's phone calls where Buddy, his name's
phone call.
Buddy.
Well, the new best friend or whatever has a mom that we see once.
Right.
It's
barely any parents, but it's the brother was on the phone, and it's like that bit where he's just being a total dickhead. Yeah. Anyway, fuck yourself. Who is it? It's
Mom. I love you.
Mom says hi.
But yeah, it's just, that's what I'm noting down. Okay, we're leaving a 17-year-old girl who's clearly sexually active and like a 15-year-old boy that is so horny. He's just covering the wall in just porn.
Oh, he's covering the wall.
So many.
It's like a Jackson Pollock in there.
Yeah, when she walks into his bedroom and the amount of Playboys strewn like across the wall, I had to write that down. I'm like, this guy gets it.
I wrote so many mags. Yeah, he's just like tossing them out, and then he pulls out a comic book. He's like, "How did this get in here?" And just throws it away.
Fucking nerds.
I mean, basically, this guy, if he make it adult, this guy is in jail. Is basically the whole thing. Like, there's no reason to believe he's not a horrible sex pest wanted in at least 9 states.
He's gonna buy Twitter.
Well, and now
you never know. In the administration,
and now he's the attorney general.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess it all works out for him.
Well, that's the thing, is that I was getting really frustrated in the first 20 minutes because it's like this wannabe journalist, and it's great. She's got a big old bow in her hair. We've got typewriters. It's full 80s, baby. And she's like, she wants to be a writer. And it comes in, and the top 3 articles are going to be printed in, I don't know, the Baltimore Sun or something like that. And hers is about whatever it was. It's about food at school. And her teacher is just saying, no, your writing's shit. But he's also like, objectifying the girl. Like these teachers are.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Like, the teacher's buddy.
Yeah,
they had that conversation that she overhears. He's like, "Did you see what that girl was wearing?" And he's like, "Yeah, I might hold her back another grade." I was like, "Oh god,
yeah,
so
that was gross."
Yeah, and he's like, "When I was a child, like I was an arsonist, but capitalism saved me." And his buddy's like, he's like, "Oh, dude, I love you so much, I can forgive you, misogyny." And the thing is this is what I'm saying is that, and there she is going, "Man, I can't even find a story." I'm like, "What do you mean you can't find a fucking story? You just overheard your teachers talking about flanking a girl so they can fuck her."
Well, it was
no instinct for story. She's like, "Guys, what can I write about school?"
Well, it's the 80s. That happened every day.
There's nothing to write about.
That doesn't happen anymore. Come on.
Yeah, that went away with the Reagan administration. What are you talking about? This whole God, it's gonna be hard for me not to be like everything in this movie sucks. But like what was driving me crazy. No, just everything in this movie sucks. What was driving me crazy is kind of what you brought up, Ollie, is the whole inciting incident. And she's like, I bet if a man submitted a story, it would go. So that's our premise. Okay. 10 minutes later, it's like, no, you're just a bad writer. Like it's, and then, so then I'm like, so then what is the rest why are we still here? What's the rest of this movie? Why are we still doing this? What is going on? And it was one of those where I'm like, just from a screenwriting perspective, I'm like, isn't it cleaner to just be like, she has the idea of like, well, wait a minute. What if I lived as a man for a couple of weeks and write about that experience? Just cut out that whole section where she writes like a bad story. It'd be like, I'm like, what is this? Is so unnecessary. It was
what I thought the movie was going to be about. That's why I'm so frustrated that it took her like 10 days in movie time to realize maybe that's what I should write about. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I just wrote, you're going to fail as a journalist if it took you 10 days to see that
story. But at least she's hot, so they keep everyone keeps shoveling that down your throat too. It's like, well, you could be a model, like her boyfriend's at her college.
Even
boyfriend.
The teacher says it. It's like, all right, look. You got a fallback. You're hot. I kind of fuck you. So it's
for
okay.
Now.
She's like,
I thought it was that she was a decent writer. She just chose a really boring subject.
Yeah, well, that was the second teacher was like, you have potential. You're just not there. The first teacher was just like, I don't know, toots. You just gotta.
And she's so grateful. You're such a great teacher. Thanks. Thank you. And nice ass. Thank you. It's just like, what is fucking happening?
But I was right there with you, Will, when that happened, I don't know, like 20 minutes into the movie, it's like, okay, what the hell is the rest of this going to be about?
Yeah.
Her finding love, you monsters.
Yeah.
Typical
finding
guys.
love.
About that, though, like, he has no reason to actually, he doesn't know anything about her, actually.
Right.
And it's
right.
So... it
is a real meet cute, though.
Sure.
They would give her a wedgie and throw her into a bush, and that's how she meets.
Yes. So she turns up at this school, and of course, William Zabka's there. And one of my favorite little character things about William Zabka is his fighting gloves. Yes. There you go, Adam. It's like anytime he's decided he wants to be a twat, he's like, all right, I need to put on my fighting gloves.
The prom at the end.
The prom. I wrote that down. I was like, gloves at the prom, dude.
I will say, just when they do the montage of like her going to school, which is shot at Coronado, it's also the same high school that was used in Bill and Ted's.
Ooh.
Yes, and the mural that they have, it's still there.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
was Napoleon there as well? Beef oven?
In a way.
I did say something. I said when the movie started winning me over, and I think every single instance of that is kind of like we said, Adam, is with the younger brother. But I said okay, the bro briefing is actually quite funny, which is where he's teaching her how to stand like a boy.
The non-montage, in a movie you would expect like a total 10-minute montage of him training her how to be a man, like the worst man training her how to become a man, and all it is like, why don't you just put the sock down your pants? And he's like, man, I should try this.
Yeah.
all balls itch. It's a fact.
I like the relationship that him and his sister had.
They had way more chemistry than anyone else in the movie.
Yes.
That's why I didn't like it. Is they had the wrong kind of. I was not enjoying that relationship. I'm like, I hate this. I hate that
that was the closest pair of siblings I have ever seen.
Hated that. Absolutely.
She does try and set her up because she needs time to try and seduce her friend. So she's like, hey, can you fuck my friend? You know, she tries to sort of set up her horny teenage brother with a friend of hers so she can have a bit more freedom to try and land this other dude. I'm like, dude, whoa, okay, pimping out your brother.
Yeah,
he wouldn't mind.
Right. She pawns Sherilyn Finn's character off on him, and that goes great for him, as we would all dream. But also, you have her her cutesy mousy friend, who like her introduction is like, I have like this dilemma. 3 of these guys will ask me out to prom.
Everybody,
she's like, well, which one's the cutest? And like,
they're all lame. Okay, which one has the coolest car? And then she names like the 3 shittiest cars ever.
Yeah. There's also a line that Buddy has when Terry's college boyfriend comes to pick her up, and he's like, man, I wish I had a sports car, and it's just like a really shitty Alfa Romeo.
It's just an MG or something like that. But like, I was like, oh, it's a really basic car. You know, where's the Wraith car when you need it? You know what I mean?
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
There
again,
we go.
Same universe, guys. Same universe.
It was some go, Will.
Oh, I was gonna say her love interest throughout this movie. That guy, not her college boyfriend.
Morehouse is the character.
Yes, Morehouse.
Clayton Rona.
Well, yeah, what was driving me crazy about that guy is I'm like, okay, so he's playing a teenager here. In 2 years, he plays an admiral in Star Trek: The Next Generation. He is Captain Picard's superior 2 years later.
Couldn't resist.
And they're like, here, it's like, he's a high school guy. I'm like, I'm losing my mind.
But he's really into jazz.
This guy is 40. What is he doing here?
I do like she's all that's him. Right. And it essentially, so yeah, she falls for this other guy, a transfer student that's also sort of a bit socially awkward and has been getting bullied by William Zabka. Though I did notice that Zabka and his 2 goons, they're very like Draco Malfoy with his 2 guys that are always running around. But after they get done doing some bullying, there was some really aggressive tip-to-tip hugging. Like they were really happy about the like the homoeroticism that happened post sort of rush of bullying people was like, guys, chill it out. Like, okay, come on now. That's a lot of hugging for guys in the 80s. That's aggressive.
I like all the ancillary characters you have, like the guy with the lizard, the reptile kid.
Reptile guy.
Right? Oh, yes. The reptile guy that's always got animals.
The aliens?
Yes.
What the hell is with that?
Those 2 guys,
drop it, Ryan. The little fact you got about
they were going to, I don't know if I wrote it down, but they were supposed to be like Trekkies, but because Paramount owned the rights to that, they couldn't use outright Star Trek, so they just became generic weird nerds.
Well, instead of the Star Trek, the Delta on their shirts, they had a what is that thing called? A compass or whatever. What is that?
Right. But they had drafting tool. It looked very much like something from Star Trek. It just wasn't.
Yeah, I saw that and I'm like, are you kidding? This movie is so cheap.
It reminded me of
this movie sucks ass.
It reminded me of the nerdy kid from Wet Hot American Summer who's just like speaks like a robot.
I'm positive now that that's what they're parodying.
Definitely.
It's like, hey, remember this stupid movie? Let's have a character like that.
Well, they were very Troy and Abed from Community.
Yeah.
They were constantly in the background doing wacky shit and stuff.
They're like taking notes about everybody, like when stuff's going on. I thought that was pretty funny, actually.
No payoff.
No, not at all. The reptile guy, actually, he's in Friday the 13th Part 2, where he's also playing like the nerd, except for he's like way better in that movie. Like you're kind of expecting him to be like this, to be like, oh, he's the goofy guy. But then he's actually like, he's organizing like fun, like, hey, we're going to all go out drinking. Like he's like a human in Friday the 13th Part 2, which is weird because it's a Friday the 13th movie. they kind of set, he's normal.
They kind of set Terry up to also like, you would think in a different movie, she would like impact all of their lives and make all of them kind of cooler instead of just focusing on that one. Yeah. But like she has that interaction with the lizard guy at the prom later on. I'm like, it's kind of nice. Like she's
with
just
the frog in the glass.
Yeah. Well, that was gross, but sure.
She's how funny.
Famously shot
this
that whole scene. Famously shot at Big Surf, which doesn't exist anymore. But.
Okay, that's what that was. I was like, how is this an Arizona movie? There's a fucking beach,
right?
At this a beach,
but not really. Yeah.
See, that's a good point. I was like, did they drive to Mexico?
Also, I'm on that point. There is literally only one shot in this movie that is Arizona to me, and it's when they go to the cave.
Oh, right.
And it's the Papago Park, like hole in the mountain cave,
which is actually not even shot there, believe it or not. Yeah, the establishing shot is, but the close up, like when they're with the fire, that's not shot there.
I remember when they said that in the movie, and I wrote that down. I go, cave. Okay, I'm assuming man cave. Nope, fucking cave. It's just like that's where we go. That's where the teens hang out. This is what we go and do.
I want to mention too the name, because I wrote this down. The name of the newspaper that she writes for. Did you clock that?
It was the Pearls or something.
The Pearl Diver.
The Pearl Diver. Yeah. That's
written by a man. Yeah.
We've broken Will. Oh my god, let's all watch Major Pain after this to really set up his day.
God. Safe to say this movie was a major pain for Will.
God. We got the mysterious men's room scene. And then we have the mysterious boys' locker room scene, which is like, I feel like they could have played more into the whole thing, which was quite funny. Though at the same time, it's like the way she's like, I like the bit about she's trying to look and not look at the same time while seeing what's going on and stuff like that was quite funny.
Did 80s bathrooms never have doors?
Sorry, buddy.
Oh, sorry. Did 80s bathrooms never have doors?
I thought that was strange. There were no stalls in the men's room. It's weird.
That is, I don't know. I think
no, there were stalls. They just didn't have doors.
Oh, well, you know what? I think at certain schools at certain times they probably pulled them off because fucked up bad shit was happening. So it's possible, but I don't know. I haven't spent a lot of time.
Room?
I haven't spent a lot of time in high school men's rooms.
Though at the same time, so then right. But like, so as we all know, when you're in a men's room, at some point you'll turn to a guy that you've never met before and go, "Hey, bro, can you check my dick?" Because like, that literally happens. She's in the changing room for seconds. And this guy who's never interacted with her as a character is like, hey, bro, does this look okay to you? You know, look at my dick. Is my dick okay? Right. Guys, am I supposed to have been doing this my entire life? Is this what locker room talk is? Hey, bro.
What do you do? Yeah, you don't do this? You went to a doctor?
You went to boarding school. I thought that's what it happened with your data.
I thought it was mandatory.
But like, so she's trapped in a situation where she's going to have to shower. Can't do that. Fortunately, I don't know. Is she secretly a smoker? But she happens to carry a lighter in her pocket.
I thought that too. And then
that was
randomly starting a fire drill.
I actually kind of liked that whole thing in the sense of like, she tries to get out of changing, so she sets the thing on fire, and then she's like, all cocky and shit, and then they're like, shirts, skins, and she's like,
that was funny.
What?
Oh shit, yeah.
Oh, my tummy. Like, I thought that was actually kind of funny.
Then the gym teacher's just like, fine, like ridiculous.
For no reason, the gym teacher is obsessed with bowling, so everything is a bowling metaphor.
Doesn't come up. Well,
but that's
a good character thing. It's a good character thing.
Yeah, it's believable.
Like, was it? Essentially, it's like the movie's a 7-10 split, right? And then what are you going to do? Then it's going to be a strike. It's like, Will is going to you look furious. Absolutely furious.
I'll see you guys later.
He flew into town for this movie.
And that's when, that's the part of the movie then. She submitted her article and we get back, no, you're just shit. You're a shit journalist. It's boring. This story's boring as shit. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, okay. And she goes, again, neck deep in being a boy at high school, surrounded by all this stuff that's going down. And she's like, I've got no ideas, guys. I don't know what to write about. And it's like, well, why are you even still at the school then?
Yeah, why is she still doing this?
Yeah.
Because she's
falling. She's falling for a boy.
You. See, Adam gets it. Will, you're off the project.
You know what? If I have to watch another one of these,
I can almost guarantee we will.
Well, so one thing that was driving me, everything in this movie drove me crazy. But one of the things that I was like, sorry, now I'm having a brain fart. There's too many things I didn't like in this movie.
Is it the fact that there's lots and lots and lots of pussy jokes? They make like so many jokes about pussies throughout the movie that I'm like, guys, we get it, okay? We get she has a vagina and the guys don't, and she's always this wink pussy joke kind of thing, and I'm just like, okay, you know what? Fine.
Yeah, this movie, if it has one thing it thinks it's funny, it's going to hit you over the head with it 95 more times and be like, this is funny, right? It's like, yeah, it kind of made me smirk a little bit 20 minutes ago. Can you stop making the joke? Like, my God.
There's a bit that was like so jarring to me. It's when Terry goes over to what's her friend's name in this movie? Like the boy.
Who cares?
Who
gives a shit?
Is it Red?
Rick is Clayton.
Rick.
So when she like goes to Rick's house and they hang out and have beers. And she asks like if he's a virgin. He's like, well, no, because, you know, after my dad died, like, so, like her mom's friend hooked up with him. I'm like, dude, this is like a very dark sexual assault
That's what
story.
I've got written here. Like, and I'm like, what story could we possibly... Virginity loss!
Oh, like, no, that's not okay.
This girl, she is constantly tumbling into newsworthy stories.
Yeah, like
just not picking up on any of it.
Better movie.
She's like, she'd meet Superman and she'd be like, maybe I should write about people wearing capes. You know, it's like she's the anti-Lois Lane.
What kind of fabric are capes made out of?
I also like the bit when they agree to go on the double date.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm going to set you up. She's like, my friend's very cute. Like, I don't know if it's her sister. Her friend's like very cute. And it cuts. And this girl is in 6th grade.
6th grade.
Yeah. It's so fucking
That was
weird,
pretty funny.
Dude.
That was funny, but very weird.
Funny, but yeah, we're going to bring my 6th grade cousin out to this cave to be
different time. This is right after the whole sexual assault like conversations they had. That's great.
We're just having bro talk. It's what bros do,
I wrote down
right?
I clocked that the beers that they're drinking just say beer on it.
Yes. So you know what? I looked into that a little bit. That's a real
you're going to bring up,
a real brand. So me too, because I go, wow,
no idea.
How lazy, or like did they have no budget or whatever? That was an actual brand of beer that came out at that time. And it was something that even like sort of teens could sort of non-ironically drink, while at the same time sort of being cheap, but acting up against like the corporate blah, 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 which is ironic because you're buying it because of the branding. But yes, and my initial thought was, did this movie run out of money? Guys, just get some cans that say beer on it. It's fine. We'll show that they're drinking beer.
So I thought when I saw that, I thought they had stolen props from the movie Repo Man, which is one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
Because everything, if you watch Repo Man, every product in the movie is like cereal, like blue font on a white box, and that's it. So I thought they had like reused those props, but when I looked it up, it was the reverse.
It's the other way around, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, Repo Man is like making fun of this, and I'm like, oh, that's great.
I did not realize it was a very real product.
And that's the thing, that because of Repo Men or Man, that's what led people to believe these things weren't actually real, whereas they were.
Yeah.
So random was one of those. It's a Mandela effect almost. It's like we're remembering things wrong because of the order you see them. It's always kind of interesting in much the way the same. Ryan saw the sequel to every movie ever instead of the first one first. So, like, all of his experiences with movies were sequel, then he saw the original one.
He just likes prequels.
That's a good take. I just really like prequels.
I want to bring something up. Anybody else notice like the Prince of it all? So there's a song that starts at the beginning of the movie, which is very Prince adjacent, but it's also not, because Prince is good and this song is not good. But I'm like, is this Prince? Is this Prince? And then throughout the movie, there were Prince references. There were 3 different Prince references. And then you've got the song, and I'm sitting there going, are the people that make this movie obsessed with Prince? Did they want to get Prince in this movie? Did they try to get a Prince song? Because for me, it was so strange, but it came from that very first 5 minutes of the movie where I'm going, did Prince? No way Prince would do a song for this piece of shit.
Would it have been better if Rick was obsessed with Prince instead of James Brown? Maybe.
Yes. See, that would have made, because then you've got that little random character thing. I like to dance.
I did read that James Brown was on set for like 3 days and taught him how to dance for that scene. Like,
he did have some pretty good dance moves at the prom when he was full James Brown.
Just the idea of James Brown on set for this movie is insane to me.
There was someone else very famous that came to set, and it was a little bit of inside baseball. So Joyce Heiser, who is playing Terry, the teenage girl in the movie, was at the time dating Bruce Springsteen, and Bruce Springsteen posters are on her wall as a teenage girl, and there was a few times that he came by set. And part of me's just trying to do the math of how old was Bruce Springsteen?
I think she was 20. I think she was 21 when she made this.
Then I'm realizing this movie is 40 years old. So Bruce,
again, it was the 80s, baby.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, because there is that but later in the movie where, like you said, you described her as mousy friend, but her blonde friend who's
that was bizarre.
Too many people dating her. And we get to the prom, and then it's like the 28-year-old guitarist is eye-fucking this 17-year-old girl.
Yeah,
and then she's like, I am going for this guy. And I'm like, What's with all the grooming?
Why?
Again, another article she could be writing, and she's like, she's not.
Well, maybe that was like the senior band or something.
Very senior.
That was a senior.
Yeah. Like literally AARP senior.
Okay, freshman in college band.
Hear me out though. Different pitch for this movie. It's all shot from the perspective of the school janitor.
Yeah.
Oh, that poor guy.
That poor guy.
Yeah, that poor. And also, if you notice in the background of every shot, he is almost looking down the barrel of the camera. Like I almost don't know if he knew that they were filming. I think that was a real janitor. Oh shit! And he saw like all the like spaghetti mess and stuff, and he's like, "What is going on?"
Maybe the movie was shot the way Ryan says, which is kind of like he's looking down the barrel because this is where his voiceover kicks in. You know, like,
probably wondering how I got here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here we go again.
He's just thinking the whole time. He's like, that dude, I think is a chick. I don't know, like something. Why is nobody picking up on this?
The idea he just goes to his like janitorial closet and is just polishing all his guns. If I have to clean up one more flip fucking table, I swear to God.
Well, I tell you what,
I'm taking out the brother first. He's the first to go.
Most useless character in this movie is Terry's college boyfriend.
Yeah,
he's barely even in the movie. There's no point for him to even exist. Because even at the end of the movie, when she's like, "I want this guy," he just moves on immediately.
Just in case you weren't sure just how gross he is, like he hits on another high school girl at that prom.
Yeah.
Though I do like Zabka, right? So Zabka's got his fighting gloves, and it sort of builds up Karate Kid style to a big fight at the end. And I'm like, I love it. I go, hit him with the old left, right. And then like, fight's over.
Classic combo.
Yeah.
Left, right. If she would have sweeped the leg though, that would have been pretty. Like really just lean into the pastiche.
It was a more entertaining fight than Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I tell you that.
Right, you were.
It was 1,000 times. Yeah, it was 1,000 times more exciting.
I like
and a lot clearer.
Yeah, I like the Sherilyn Finn line where she's like, "The Karate Kid's gonna be mine" or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, he's so cute. He's got a Karate Kid vibe.
So we've got this whole movie where it's very much been sort of like from the female perspective in a way. And she's like, again, going into the men's room, going into the shower rooms and stuff like that. And then, it's very much about like, she's been the face of all this misogyny and everything else. And this movie still figures out that the only way that she can reveal that she is a girl is to reveal an absolutely spectacular pair of breasts. Good for her. I mean,
10 out of 10.
Just, like,
and she didn't want to, but agreed with the director. Like, no, unfortunately, like they tried to shoot it a bunch of different ways, but the only way to get that point across was to actually have that reveal.
Which is it doesn't make sense because I'm like, wait, surely she must have been strapping these babies down. Where's the straps? It's just rips it open, boobs, 3 seconds, and then the movie moves on. But it was the only way they could figure out of getting it out of the whole is he gay?
Yeah, which doesn't come up at all until that moment where Rick's like, "I get it, you're gay. It's cool, man. It's the '80s."
Right. And you're watching it like, no, it's the 80s.
Yeah, bro.
I don't know if this is cool.
This is very much like you are 10 years too early to make that comment.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's not like
it's wildly dangerous.
It's not like an Ace Ventura when she reveals she's a man and they all just fucking barf because
it's not a much more sensitive movie.
And like the filmmaking part of that, like you could so tell that that's about to come up because when they like go into like the side area, it's the whole movie doesn't usually shoot in like wide mediums, and now it like suddenly is. I'm like, okay, she's gonna open them up.
Yeah.
And
okay.
There it is.
For the chest, guys. Frame it for the chest. And I just find it's such a bizarre choice of that. That's how it's done in a movie like 80s sex comedies. I just think like in anything like Airplane. For no reason, someone would just run through topless.
Right.
You know what I mean? We just lived in this world.
Or even we just watched The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. The script supervisor is just topless.
Yeah.
But I was like, is she French or something? No, she's just topless.
And it's PG-13.
Well, it's just, well, the 80s were a different time, man.
Right.
It's like, it was a PG movie and you could have a completely naked woman in it.
And it's on YouTube.
That's right. And I scrubbed through all the way to the end just to make sure those titties were still there.
Well, what's really fun on YouTube is you could, like, some have like that warping thing, so you can see where people click on.
Oh, I wonder where the peak is.
It's just a big spike. It's like my friend said, it's like the modern day like VHS like warping.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
that's true. It's good.
Let me tell you, I made the movie Poison Ivy very hard to watch. You know.
You mean Batman and Robin?
Yeah.
It was just I just found it such a a strange choice.
It's innocuous. Yeah, it's like
this movie is full of strange choices, but like I'm saying, by the end of it, I was like charmed. The bit where so we get to the end, and then so this girl that's been trying to shag Terry through the whole movie eventually goes and bones her 15-year-old brother instead, which is so we just got a little...
That wouldn't happen, yeah.
And it's I love how but then kind of like Will's saying, for siblings, they're way too close. She walks in on her brother boning and then leans up against the door.
Just stays there for a big beat, like...
So how's the boning going? What's up? Okay, well, I'll leave you to your day. As opposed to just running out and slamming the door like everybody else in the bloody world would.
So that's how it is in their family.
Yes!
Yeah, very close siblings.
And then you get the big go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that's probably when my seething hatred for this movie just boiled over, and I'm like, just
that's when it won you over.
She was totally on board 27 in this movie.
27. Wow, Jesus, really?
Was that Sherilyn Fenn at the end? The random chick on a motorcycle that just shows up.
No.
I wrote that down. I'm like, he just rides off into the sunset, much like the ending of the Wraith.
I was about to say, random turning up on bike situation. We're back to Wraith territory here. Yeah, that's what I wrote. Because honestly, guys, I can't even remember. Because I've got, she sits at her Murder, She Wrote desk at the end of the movie, and she sort of starts typing. It's the exact same desk.
Exactly.
Oh, it was like that. Or I was waiting for her to tear a piece of paper out, and it would have been like that production company.
Yes.
In the 80s where it's
Yep.
So she got to write the article. Her friend talked about how she lucked out because she's now with the groomer, and she's like, I lucked out. I got the 28-year-old. And then I've just written down, what was that ending, guys? How did the movie end?
It's so bizarre because she goes through all of this, and then now she's just a normal, attractive woman again, and it's just everyone is hating on her because everyone in this town has read her article. They're like, "Wow, you've been through a lot." So what are you doing later? What are you doing?
That's right. Now, hang on.
You must be real thirsty.
The two guys trying to pick her up, and then Buddy, her brother, is there, and then for no reason, a really hot blonde turns up on a bike,
on a motorcycle, and he just hops
on the back. He goes off in one direction. She drives off in the other. Credits.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, it's the actual ending is she's out there, and then Rick, is that his name?
Yeah.
Rick shows up and is like, "Hey, so I guess I do like you. Let's let's hop in the car."
Yeah. He appears seemingly from nowhere.
No reason. He has no reason to like her because he knows nothing about her.
She's coming out of the newspaper building, which apparently she now works.
Oh, that's her job. That's her summer job. That was the prize for getting her the article in the thing.
So 10 out of 10.
But as random as it was, I did end up just getting this movie was ridiculous, but I enjoyed it. Will hated it by the looks of the sort of the... See, did you watch this one, then Raising Arizona? Did this one poison the well? And then everything that came after it was just a disaster to you? Because
I watched Raising Arizona first, which thank God I would have been in a really bad mood to watch that movie. But no, I watched it. I watched Just One of the Guys last night, and it ruined my night. But yeah, by the end when that random blonde showed up on the motorcycle, I was like, is this a setup to something that paid off earlier? And I started to reach for the remote, and I'm like, I don't even care. I'm just gonna leave that a mystery.
It was not.
Yeah, I was like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I can go my whole life without solving.
Well, you missed the post-credit scene where after he hops onto the motorcycle, him and that girl drive to the same motorcycle gang that takes place in the film Stone Cold.
Where?
Oh, they're the ones that fly into the helicopter.
Yes. Oh, thank God. That's what I hope happens to him. I just didn't enjoy any moment of this movie. I don't know. And as far as Arizona, I think the Arizona of it all is the architecture, especially the homes and stuff. I was like, this is very Tempe. Like there was something about those neighborhoods where I'm like, yeah, this is very Arizona. The high school also to me is a very Arizona feel. Mm-hmm. But other than that,
it doesn't have a character named Nathan Arizona. I don't think so.
Right. I didn't get Arizona vibes at all in that entire movie, except the one shot.
It's a lot of interiors, it's just, the fact that it was shot entirely out here was kind of cool. I like that they shot at Coronado, the high school. Mm-hmm. It's also the San Dimas High School. I thought that was pretty cool. But
they still don't have doors on the stalls.
And you know that how?
I have a friend.
He was playing in a band. Yeah, he really lucked out.
But you, Adam, you mentioned this is like very similar to. Oh my God!
Oh yeah, She's the Man.
She's the Man. Yeah.
Where with the Amanda Bynes
movie.
Bynes. Yeah,
Channing Tatum, right?
That is another. I think isn't that just an adaptation of the same thing?
Basically,
I think it's another version.
Just not as good.
I like.
There's soccer involved.
That's good, man. That's got Channing Tatum with a tampon up his nose. Mm-hmm. I miss Amanda Bynes before her, like her troubles, because I found her very, very, very entertaining. She's like in Easy A. I love her in Easy A.
Yeah.
I think that was her last film, I think, right?
No, she was also in what's that musical?
Hairspray.
Oh, Hairspray. I think that was good. Yeah, which we did for the podcast, which I've completely forgotten about.
How dare you? I love that movie. All right, so we're going to move on from the interesting choice that was just one of the guys, and now we're going to get into the real argument of how you guys have completely misunderstood and like how do you not find this to be? It's one of my favorite comedies. It is funny from beginning to end. It is Edgar Wrightian in its level of we know exactly what we're going to do in this moment. Sure. We know the shots that are coming. We'll whip the guy. We even have baby reaction shots. We have a Point Break inspired POV chase through a bank. We've got craziness. I love this movie, and I'm like, I'm going to try and turn you guys around. So let's get back to talking Raising Arizona, where we get crazy Nicolas Cage from second one. It is
best hair. Best like Nick Cage hair.
Like a Wes Anderson film. Yeah. It's great.
It's true.
Even the Coen brothers say that his hair is a reflection of how much danger he's in the movie. The crazier the danger, the bigger his hair swoop. So as you watch the movie, apparently that's an indication of the danger that he's in. We've got William Forsythe. We've got John Goodman. John Goodman is a treasure. And he's a treasure throughout this movie. I love all just the random screams.
I just wrote Goodman scream or Shawshank Goodman.
Yeah, that was like I noticed that for sure. Yeah, that was cool. Back him crawling out of the mud was wild. Then he pulls the fucking leg up,
and then pulls exactly.
The leg part got me so good. Oh.
Yeah, there's a ton to love in this movie. It just like I said, I did enjoy it. It just didn't connect with me, and maybe I wasn't in the right headspace while I was watching it. But it's a good film, and it's so fun to see them at this like early stage in their career where they're just like, hey, let's just get a bunch of our friends together and make this silly ass movie.
Like exactly that way, because you get Holly Hunter, who is a national treasure, and she is just lovely in this movie. Yeah, but Frances McDormand, and it's
unrecognizable. She's great.
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite bits in the whole movie.
But like as we've talked about sort of before, I think when we were doing a Sam Raimi movie, the noir one with Billy Bob Thornton and Bill Pullman.
Raimi's Coen movie. Simple Plan.
Simple Plan. I get that mixed up with Blood Simple for sure.
Like, they were all living together. They were all like sharing a house, like even to the point that but who knows? But like Frances McDormand like came to Crash and stuff like that, and then this is how they all met, and so they were just all doing each other's movies and kind of learning from each other's. And like Will, like you said, A Simple Plan is the most Coen Brothers Sam Raimi movie, whereas I'd say Raising Arizona is the most Sam Raimi Coen Brothers movie I've seen, because there are moments when you're like, oh, we're going very Sam Raimi here.
That POV shot where they're like at the Phoenician, like
yes.
I'm thinking of the Evil Dead shot. Yeah. Where it's like going up into the house. That was cool.
Yes.
Up a ladder.
Was he not like a second AD on this film? Like, was he not involved in any way? Is he credited in this?
Not that I can see on the credits. I bet it's a situation where I bet he was around.
Because it is early enough. Like, because this was 87, right?
Or 1987. Yes. Cinematography was Barry Sonnenfeld. Yeah, we've gone to the Men in Black movies and stuff like that. He likes his POVs as well. Okay,
yeah,
and he did the Addams Family movies and stuff like that. Oh, that kind of
very similar sensibility.
You can see like the genesis from this movie going on to like be the fingerprints throughout their careers.
Well, speaking of fingerprints, lots of fingerprints at the beginning, because H.I. is getting arrested a lot in Maricopa County. Tempe, Arizona. Lots of just like dropping where we are. Though I do love my favorite little joke. It made me think of Sicario. Is where he's like me and Ed, we got a house in suburban Tempe, and it cuts and it looks
it's
like in the middle
of nowhere,
where I used to live. Because you guys remember, I lived in the superstitions, like out there, and that did make me like burst out.
They really stretched the sprawling landscape of this film quite a bit. Like where they're saying isn't where they're filming.
But I think that's like almost like a bit of an in joke for just anyone in Arizona. It's just like it's suburban Tempe, and it's like
I didn't even take trailer.
It like that. One trailer out in the desert where we shot my short film. There was actually a lot of places where they filmed where I'm like, we shot there. Adam, were you on Dirt at all? I don't remember if you were.
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah,
I was on Hellsing.
Yeah. Oh, everyone should watch Hellsing. I don't know where you can see that, but everyone should.
Trash.
But
the Hugh Jackman movie?
Yeah.
No, the better one. But also The Office, where he's having his parole hearings. I shot my web series there in that office. Like, I recognized it immediately. Like, yeah, we moved that painting, and I recognize those walls.
That's cool.
That is cool.
There was a little Coen Brothers overlap. I did notice that in the background or on somebody's uniform or a thing, it said Hudsucker Industries.
Oh, that's cool.
There was like a little I saw on somebody's ID badge. But like,
yeah, I think that was something they were kind of like laying the groundwork for a little while. Like that was
the opening 10 minutes though. You've got voiceover Nicolas Cage. You've got turn to the right. You got him being arrested, getting out on parole, getting arrested, getting out parole, meeting Ed, getting together, suburban Tempe, and then I'm like, I wrote the Wraith is in danger because we're getting so much Arizona, and then we get credits. Like you just get this frenetic open 10 minutes of just like
that was jarring for sure. I was like,
it's funny, it's fast moving. From moment one, I'm cracking up.
And then after that, it just kind of fell apart for me.
Yeah, I wrote only a few minutes in, and it's already so Arizona.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then you've got this, like, for me, whenever I see Raising Arizona, the only thing that starts playing in my head is, because it's got that, it gets in there and it says this movie's going to be crazy. You guys ready? Because this movie's going to be crazy.
Yeah. I love that too. I wasn't
prepared for just how crazy, I guess. Like, I can't stress enough that it is very much a cartoon. Like, it is so Looney Tunes.
There's a fun like moment when they get married. Like I don't know, it's a very throwaway gag, but it's like everyone on his side is all dressed in like Hawaiian shirts, and then everyone on her side is all cops. It was like
so many good visual gags in this. Like the way it's shot, the look, the feel, the colors. It's so hyper realistic that it really does add to the cartoony nature of this movie.
Yeah, well, so again, this is all the notes that I'm getting into, that exactly where you are as well, is that the scene with the babies. So the plot device is essentially that Ed can't have babies, and then these guys, the Arizona Quints, so this guy, Nathan Arizona, they've had 5 babies.
Harry, Larry, Barry, Gary, and Nathan Jr.
And Nathan Jr. And they take Nathan Jr., which is my favorite part. It's like they break into the house, And this is where I go, it becomes Tim Burton-esque. The colors are a bit heightened. The angles are very, very specific. You get POVs from babies at times. It's the fact that like you can turn around, the kids keep vanishing, and then I'm saying everyone is a caricature. Like the experience is so theatrical. Everything's just kind of dialed up to 11. I go, but this is where the movie exists. So you're right. Yeah. Just watch it through the lens of we're basically watching a live action cartoon. Cool. Because now you're off to the races.
Knowing that now, I think I would enjoy it much more on like subsequent rewatches. Like I'd have a very different appreciation for it. But it being my first watch, it was just so jarring for me that I was like, what is this fucking movie? It's just absolute chaos.
It gave me a little bit of Wes Anderson vibes.
Yes.
Definitely. Especially when they're sitting in their chairs.
Yeah, that was cool. A lot of, for sure.
And like the way...
Just 5 babies, just unattended upstairs.
Just sitting upstairs.
No one else in the house.
But it's like all these stylistic choices, like the introduction of the biker, the guy,
that is one of the coolest
Mad
things.
Max shit.
And then, but then like he'll do a jump, and then like he jumps into the next scene. You know what I mean? He jumps from one scene to the next. We've got the Sam Raimi POV, and it's like it's just that everybody is kind of like putting in, how about this? That'll work. It's like there's no reason for it. It's more like, fuck it. That'll be kind of let's go with this stylistic choice. And I dig it. I love it.
That death monologue, like introducing the biker character,
that was cool.
I heard that before. There's a punk band called Leftover Crack. And there's on one of their albums, Rock the 40 Ounce. They have like random bits from movies like in their songs, and one of their songs is almost that entire monologue. So like when that started playing in the movie, I was like, oh, I know this bit.
You did the DiCaprio point. But like I said, like none of these characters have redeeming qualities. They are all truly terrible. Like even Holly Hunter's character, I'm like, you went from being a cop to now you're just just becoming like a full-on criminal because you really want a baby. That's
she's depressed, man.
I get it, but
she's barren. I love the bit where she just bursts out like crying. I love him so much.
But
I love that.
I think it would have worked because that's my thing. Like I said, I like this movie. I'm on the same page as Ryan. I really liked it, but I think what kept me from really connecting with it is I'm like, if you just move the dials on this and this a couple inches this way and this way, you'd have it great.
Yeah.
I think with her, what was driving me crazy is I'm like, I don't think she should be in on the baby napping. I think that should be his idea, and he brings home the baby. And she's at first like, you can have a baby, and then instantly makes that switch.
All right,
like,
I'm going to go on the
that's
other
what
side.
I need, a little bit of that tweak.
Because part of it is more like, it's more like the, well, welcome to marriage. That she's like, no, you're going to get me that baby. You're going to get in there and you're going to get me a baby. They don't need that many. And it's like, yes, honey. You know, it's like, it's more like, she's like, you get me right now.
It's like a role reversal type thing. It's like he wants to do more of the good thing and not do it. And then she is like, no, you have to do it.
And she's like, exactly. She's doing the same thing she did from the one where they're singing, but she's like, no, I said my piece. I count 3. You know what I mean? It's like, you're just going to do it. It's
No Country, Where Art Thou?
Yeah, that's the one. But it's like, for me, I was just like, it's kind of more like, he's just, okay, baby, we're going to do this.
And he's such a buffoon too. And you kind of empathize with him, but man, he fucking sucks.
He can barely rob a convenience store.
Yeah, he's just a little he needed to have a little bit more of a heart of gold. Like he could still be a criminal and still be all that. He just needed it a little bit. Like I said, just minor tweaks to get us there.
It was just hard for me to sympathize with any of them, like at all.
Right.
Because it gets the situation. So they kidnap the baby. Then you get Frances McDormand coming over and just being hilarious. Her husband Glenn, the swinger, he's just crushing it. He's so just good. He's so funny. His character is just, he plays it perfectly for the,
and those kids too. That wole scene where it's just chaos.
I have him labeled as the vasectomy children.
So they're outside having like lunch, and Frances McDormand's character is like, "Hey, did you get insurance? Did you do all this?" And Holly Hunter's like, "Yeah, babe, did you do it?" He's like, dude, I just got this baby like fucking yesterday.
Yeah, they get the pediatrician. You got to get the dip test. Did we get the dip test, baby? Yeah.
He's like, no, you know that I didn't. Like,
right.
And then you cut to their children just smashing up his car.
God. Yeah, I love that. That's so fun. Oh, see, he learned how to spell, and then he wrote like fart on the wall. And then
up later in a funny shot.
The biker sees it. Like that's so funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of like there again, like very much like an Edgar Wright film. There's nothing wasted. Everything pays off, which was like everything fits really well. It's just I think it was just so chaotic and anxiety inducing for me to watch for first time.
Yeah, well, I can get that. And I see what you mean, because it constantly sort of just escalates. Because, okay, they've got the babies, but then, like we said, John Goodman and William Forsythe break out of prison in a very entertaining sort of like Shawshank Redemption-y kind of like, way.
They go back in the same way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. The bit where they're like greasing up their hair, which is like
this the pomade,
And then they drop in on HI and like they're like we decided to remove ourselves from a negative environment. The way they talk is they talk in a very heightened way. But now you've got the two guys, criminals on the run who've broken out of sort of prison. Then they get the idea that the baby's been kidnapped from a very famous person, so there's money to be made off returning the baby. Then you've got this Mad Maxian sort of spiritual, sort of undead kind of like bounty hunter in the mix as well. But like it, and
made of fire.
Exactly. Yeah. It's bonkers. But I love it. Like for me, when Nicolas Cage decides he has to go and rob, because it's always a solution is, well, I guess I got to go rob a convenience store.
It's like I find myself driving by convenience stores that I don't even live near.
They weren't even on the way home.
Right.
This scene I think you're about to talk about was way crazier than the final like confrontation.
Yes, it's the best scene in the movie. It's just like that long drawn out, like the situation is escalating. Yeah, he's dropping the diapers in the thing.
Oh yeah,
it's POVs. It's him running. It's stuff exploding. It's guns going off. It's
cops running through shooting randomly, like at
which would never happen in real life.
It was like that 6-minute wonder in True Detective. Like it was just so wild.
Right.
The dogs. The dogs bit that got me when they run through the house and then all the dogs run through the house. I was like, all right, that's hilarious. That's
it's
so
incredible, incredible filmmaking for sure.
Incredible editing as well. That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying is there's some really, really good movie making happening. And it's like I like to say it a lot, but I think it's one of those situations where they didn't have a ton of money. The budget was like 5.5 mil. So it always forces you to get creative and make entertaining, creative choices. And I think this movie is every single creative, entertaining choice they came up with.
I could see like a lot of younger filmmakers using this as a point of reference for their project. Like
for sure.
And it's a great point of reference to use because it's so insane and is done on a shoestring budget. And for it to look as good as it does, you mentioned that scene earlier that's like Tim Burton-esque. When he's trying to steal the babies, it reminded me of the set deck for the movie Toys. Like it's just this hyper stylized,
blues are so
vibrant,
blue, reds are so red, the yellow is so yellow.
The lenses and camera angles that they're using, it's just
so wide,
so trippy. Yeah, super cool. I love the aesthetic of this film.
And they were definitely using like the Raimi Steadicam stuff, like for like the panning and all that. Like wasn't there a shot where they just did a full 360 around the room? I can't
remember that one.
Something like that.
So, there's so many crazy camera shots. It's hard to nail down a favorite. But
so much screaming too.
That's the thing. I was about to get to the screaming. Is that
I feel like 20% of Goodman's lines are just
It's the Snakes brothers, Gail and Evel or Avil. And there's so many like screams. My favorite one is like, so they've stopped off to rob a bank. They've got it.
They keep forgetting the baby.
The dye goes off in the car.
So funny.
Yes, they've left the baby on the center of the road, and they're just screaming in the car, going, "Ah!"
I have a question about this because when they're leaving the bank post robbery, which they bring the baby into, it's hilarious. He's like, "You can't leave the baby in the car," and they bring it in. It's great. Right. But he puts the baby on the roof of the car in the little seat, and then they drive off. And in my mind, I'm like, hang on, did this baby fall off of the roof of this car and is just chilling in the middle of the road? Like,
no, it did one of those things where like the car goes and then the baby just stays there and drops.
Is that what happened?
That's definitely what happened. Yeah.
Off camera.
Just like a cartoon. Got it.
Yes, and then you've got the cartoon sort of nature of them coming back to get the baby. The baby's sitting in the middle of the road. You've also got the guy on the bike heading for it, and you just get all this like complete bonkers, absolutely like insane sort of situation.
This wild convergence point. Yeah. Ending with like the same ending from Leon the Professional, just him pulling the pins off the grenades.
Well, and right before that, though, we get a moment of intrigue where he reveals the same
the Roadrunner tattoo, right? Yeah. What was that about?
Yeah. What does that mean?
I don't know.
I thought you were going to tell us, you asshole.
No, I'm not. Well, my theory was,
it's him from the future.
It's him from the future, but it's in like a different spot. It's on an arm and a chest.
He took the substance, is what you're saying.
Yes. Your skin just moves.
Nailed it. Best movie ever.
It was really funny how these plots converge, and especially after having just read Heat 2, it was a very similar kind of like everything is converging, and I'm
very serendipitous in a very ethereal way. Like it's so insane.
Exactly. Yeah,
but it works.
So I'm reading some random stuff here about the movie. One is that like Adam said, so that establishing shot where the camera moves in to show Nathan Jr. is gone is a direct homage to the Evil Dead.
Okay,
because Joel Coen was the editor. Like it's a specific one. So
it goes up to her screaming. Like
it's incredible.
15 babies played the quintuplets in the film, though one of the babies was fired during production. The baby learned how to walk.
For smoking?
The baby. That's so funny.
The baby was really sexist.
You're off the hasn't worked since.
I did write down how many babies did they use.
Right.
I thought it was like 10, but 15.
I wasn't even convinced that it was the same baby from Shot to Shot.
One of them should have been like funnier. One of them should have been like a little black baby.
That would have been great. Like it would have been that is such a good gag that no one has done yet in one of those movies. Like, you know how you always
we had quintuplets.
It's a different baby every time, and no one ever mentions it. And then one time it's like a little rubber baby, like an American Sniper and stuff. Oh, that's a good gag.
One is the baby,
horrible CG baby from Twilight.
One is the baby from Kung Pao that just rolls down the hill.
Oh, it's okay.
Bye-bye. Yeah, my favorite movie, baby.
Right. So something else that we've been pointing out about the movie is that they are obviously making very specific choices. It was very much sort of nailed down. And that is Joel Coen saying is that's to obtain the maximum out of the money we had. It had to be meticulously planned. We had to know exactly what we wanted, which apparently was a bit of a thing for Cage. Because as we know, Cage is something of the artiste. He likes to bring his Nicolas Cage to the table, which is why we love Nick Cage. But like when you've got an actor that wants to sort of like explore, and you've got directors with a very specific vision, you've got to kind of find that's going to be a sort of a tumultuous sort of thing to try and find a middle ground.
I mean, he did seem moderately restrained. This is so early on compared to some really wild shit that he's done.
He still had a scream.
Yeah.
He still did his classic Cage.
Not like Bad Lieutenant levels of insanity or The Rock.
Or Vampire's Kiss or anything like that. Yeah.
Like the good movies.
Yeah. I will say though, as I've been going through the development process of my own film, Nick Cage is we have a couple connections to Cage, and as I've had conversations with these people, what they've said is he is fantastic to work with. That he is shows up, knows exactly his lines, what he can play. Like he just shows up, knows exactly what he's supposed to do. Never late, is always professional. And the thing they also said is like, and his manager is super fantastic too, and is super nice and works. So from what I've heard from people who worked with him, he is just excited to be there, excited to do the job, and just I've heard nothing but good things. So that's always
awesome. What else do you want from an actor?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, all the hits.
Good acting, I suppose, but
well, you know,
you clearly don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah. We just saw just one of the guys, so clearly that's not necessary.
I would say easy to work with is number one, then being a good actor or good at your job. But it's like, you know, as any of us, we've all had different experiences in film and television, but it's like, you know, a harmonious set is an important thing. And when sets are working great, it's amazing. But when there's that one thing or that one person that just the human handbrake that just wrecks it for everybody else, you know what I mean? It's always best to have like people who are easy to work with. And that's how a lot of my TV career at the beginning was I was recommended to other people going, no, this guy is super, he's just easy to work with. Here, take this guy. It's like, it's going to work.
There's a new show on HBO called The Franchise, which is very similar to like what you're talking about. It's how they're making this one movie in this insane franchise, and you have all of the players and all of the egos at play, and it's a very funny dynamic to be a part of, for sure.
I didn't realize it was a show. I thought it was a movie.
Yeah, no, it's a show about making like an MCU project, basically. Right. It's the behind the scenes.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out.
So I like this. The mayor of Scottsdale proclaimed the film had no redeeming social value and that it certainly isn't the image Arizona wants to project, which is like...
But their favorite movie is just one of the guys.
But this will be a piece of information that is apparently going to be of no surprise to any of us, but it is Edgar Wright's favorite film. So I can see how this movie inspired so much of the way that Edgar Wright makes Spaced. And
it's Raising Arizona and Ricky O. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have seen his list, and I do know Ricky O is like 20 spaces above every other movie ever made,
as it should be.
Yeah, we've started to figure out how to get Ricky O under the show.
I thought about it. I thought about how we did, but we're gonna have to save it for the end of the season. We do our best prison movie.
Yeah, best prison movie.
There we go.
In Hong Kong.
Con Air.
We did fucking best movie in space. Why can't we do best prison?
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
great. We'll have to do best prison movie, but we've already done The Rock, so now we're in trouble. Fuck. I was right about how did they make this movie without laughing? Is a big note I had. There are some scenes that are so.
It wasn't in the budget. Strict no laughing policy.
And I also like the bit where they go in and they rob the bank at the end, and I wrote it down. It's the last note I have because I just started watching the movie after this. But it's like the bank looks like it's 1856 inside. Like you get the people are dressed the way, and I'm like, it's
farmers.
Yeah, exactly right. But it's almost like the only thing that's missing is people riding horses up to it. And the thing is,
I mean, it's so fun that bit where
out there,
you want us to freeze or
Yeah, that's so good.
It looked like tortilla flats, like.
Yeah, well, people still rode around on horses when I lived.
Steeped in time, man.
That's like 5 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like...
The population of Tortilla Flats is 6. No joke.
And they're all in this movie,
including that one dummy that's hanging. If you've ever been to Tortilla Flats, that's a funny joke.
All 6 of them are dying.
But the big question here now, guys, is irrelevant of whether or not you think it was the best movie or not. There is a phenomenal amount of Arizona in Raising Arizona. There are the Superstition Mountains, suburban Tempe. There's all the mentions of Maricopa County. It's all clearly being shot in places that we recognize. Will has said he himself has shot his projects, his films, his TV series and things like that in some of these actual locations. The question, I guess, is because it's definitely not she's one of the guys or just one of the guys. That can go up at the side. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's there.
Out of here.
It's off to the side.
Well.
Oh, thank goodness he was wearing pants.
I was going to say, it would be great if it panned down and we saw your Playboy collection and all the posters.
It's just a pair of breasts.
It's in the closet behind me.
For no reason, guys. I've been lying this entire time. But no, is the Wraith, like I said, we loved the Wraith. And the Wraith starts in a way that we all recognize the roads. We all recognize these places. It feels very familiar to us. As people,
I feel like I've driven on those roads before.
I've lived exactly. But I think it's the same thing about Raising Arizona. I'm like, oh, I know that road. That's before they paved it. I know that place. I used to live 2 minutes away from it, So this is where we get into the big question is because the Wraith is a champion upon champions in this show, but Raising Arizona is named Raising Arizona, has a character called Nathan Arizona, is shot in Arizona, and has a shitload of Arizona in it. Does it have more than the Wraith? Go.
Yes.
I don't know. Does it have a kick-ass T-shirt?
Not yet.
I don't think yet.
Having watched both movies yesterday, yes, Raising Arizona has more Arizona than the Wraith. Okay. I love the Wraith. It's amazing. It's awesome. But most of it is really just the deserty landscape.
Yeah. You get more Arizona.
Which is Arizona
for sure. Yeah.
It's like more
Spoiler
Tucson.
alert.
It's like Tucson.
It is specifically Tucson for sure.
I paused it on the cop cars. It says Brooks, Arizona, which I don't think actually exists. because I Googled it and nothing came up.
Or it just doesn't exist anymore because the movie was so popular that they had to.
No, the second thing to come up on Google was the Wikipedia for the Wraith.
Oh, shit.
So I don't think it's a real town.
And yet, yet Randy Quaid is the sheriff there.
I thought he's like an FBI guy.
God, no, Randy.
Tucson can't afford an FBI.
That's true.
So, because I said from the very beginning of Raising Arizona, when we got to the credits, the note that I wrote down is the Wraith is in trouble because it is dripping with, and honestly, when we talked about doing this last year, as our also rans was Raising Arizona, it's like. Sure.
It's the first movie that comes to mind when we talk to people about this podcast and we mention this state. They're like, "Oh, it's Raising Arizona."
Yeah. Every time I said it, was like, "Oh, it's probably this movie, right?" Yeah. And I was like, "No." I said the 3 movies, and then they're like, "Sounds like a lame podcast."
Oh, you were talking to my mom. I said.
I was going to say you were talking to Will's mom.
Oh, you're reading all our YouTube comments. Cool.
If I could make a case for the Wraith, though.
Please do.
Please. Yeah.
Which is that, yes, there's more name drops. There's more technically Arizona. Although to me, it all looks Tucson and what they're showing in suburban Tempe. It all looks exactly the same. Let's not kid ourselves. Arizona, unless you're in northern Arizona, all looks exactly like that.
True.
But the thing about the Wraith that is more Arizona to me is the feeling of the filmmaking feels much more like that's an Arizona movie. Raising Arizona is a Hollywood movie. That is not a born and bred, raised here Arizona film. The Wraith is. I've seen so many Arizona movies. It's Raising Arizona. You're an imposter. I know you're not from here.
It's so funny you say that because I was so caught up in putting these 2 movies head to head that I didn't even have the Wraith in my mind when doing that. So I was comparing the Arizona-ness of Raising Arizona to just one of the guys, and of course it's Raising Arizona.
Oh yeah,
because it's a completely different feel.
No doubt.
Comparing that to the Wraith, you're so right that they both yes, they're both shot here, they're both set here, but the Wraith definitely feels like when I picture Arizona, to me, that's kind of what it feels like. It's crazy to even say that out loud.
It's so funny. Like we were often having, Adam, of course, we did crown a champion. And so we had a whole bracket at the end of the last season, and we were just astounded at the level of quality movies that the Wraith was able to take out. They were like, it's in
yeah.
Really good.
Like I said, just going through our list of winners, I'm like, guys, what are we doing here? Insane.
Because it's not about the best movie, and sometimes someone throws something down. Like what Will just said is, I agree with what Will said. Is that when you do, is that Raising Arizona is a really well-made Hollywood movie in Arizona, whereas the Wraith is a bunch of people in Arizona decided to make a movie.
and the world is better for it.
Yeah.
Even Scottsdale's mayor said Raising Arizona, get out of here.
Yeah, right.
This is a Wraith
That's local politics kicking Raising Arizona out.
That was me and Charlie Sheen.
Well, the fix might have been in, but
you know what? Yeah, Raising Arizona didn't have anybody drinking hydraulic fluid, so there you go.
No skank, no zero. And Raising Arizona only had one character that could also exist in the world of the Wraith, and that character may not even really exist.
This is a good point. So look, all right, Will's argument really worked on me, so I've now landed on Team Wraith. So I'm on Team Wraith right now, because that's a really good fucking point, Will. It's a really good point.
Raising Arizona is too good. I'm telling you. It's too good.
It's crazy to say that you could theoretically take Raising Arizona and shoot it anywhere else, like in California, as a stand-in for Arizona and achieve the same effect.
Raising Arizona, despite all the name dropping, despite all that, there's nothing specifically tied to the movie would not change on a fundamental level.
I guess you could say that about the Wraith too, but it's got the river and And
it's got Fossil Creek.
It's the feeling of the Wraith that like really like the feeling would change if you shot the Wraith somewhere else.
Now, if Skank and Gutter Boy were in Raising Arizona, we'd be having a very different conversation.
Yeah, this would be neck and neck.
So, are we doing this? Is there any compelling argument for just one of the guys, or a compelling argument?
No.
I feel like we're going to lose some subscribers on this one.
I can't believe it. Sorry. Okay. Ready? Because I'm doing it.
You got your work cut out for you on Monday when you drop your playing this one. Slide into Will's DMs.
Bring it. I'm on Blue Sky now. Bring all the hate to this new platform.
All right, we're doing it. We're doing it. That's still champion here at the United States of a Movie Podcast for the movie that best represents Arizona to the world, if not the universe, is the incredible, iconic movie, The Wraith. I'm wearing my It's Wraith and Time t-shirt. It has taken out, it has defeated, in this prize match, Raising Arizona and just one of the guys. The Wraith continues on as an immortal space being that's back to wreak revenge on those that maybe or maybe didn't murder him. It's honestly, it gets confusing at some point. Which, okay, this is fantastic. So it's still here. It's still champion. So question is, though, what other movies could topple it? What were some of the other also rounds we haven't got to? For me, I wanted to say 310 to Yuma. That's the one that I was...
You mentioned that last time, too.
Yeah, I've been circling that every time.
I would say that, too, but it's honestly, it's just a Western. Like, it could be 310 to Sacramento. I don't know.
No, that's not wrong.
True.
There is the
but that's a true story, no?
310, no, it's just based off an older Western. There is the Danny McBride movie, Arizona.
I wanted to pick that because I know how much Will loves Danny McBride.
Love him. Can't get enough.
Where's True Grit set?
True Grit was, I think we already did that because that was the other.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That is the problem with Arizona is there's a lot of Western. I was thinking about at some point bringing in like something like Rio Bravo that is completely filmed here, like in old Tucson. Not necessarily set here, but John Wayne is standing near Saguaros near the entire time, and they're like, "We're in Utah." I'm like, "Shut up!" No,
it's so everyone mentions Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Like I mentioned it earlier, but.
Yeah, it's very California. Like for me, the Brit watching it goes, "Oh, this is what California looks like."
Right.
There was the movie that taught me about Phoenix, Arizona, and what Phoenix looks like. Years before I ended up living there, but it was the Ivan Reitman movie Evolution.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's what.
Was that shot in Tucson as well? I think that was shot in Tucson.
Probably.
I think there
were like big desert scenes in that.
They are in Tucson, though. I don't think they ever explicitly say that. Like the university that they're at is not like.
But I remember watching the movie and going, "Wow, why would anybody live there?" And then I lived there for 8 years.
Yeah. Where's the giant worm I can shoot shampoo up his asshole?
There's the Joseph Kosinski movie "Only the Brave," which is based off those smoke jumpers.
Oh yeah.
Oh right, we mentioned that.
Yeah.
Movie I've been wanting to watch. I remember it getting very good reviews. Fire in the Sky was one I tried to bring, which is my wife's childhood trauma movie and Ryan's childhood trauma movie.
What is that?
Really fucking scary. You've never seen it, Adam? Okay, look it up. Fire in the Sky.
It's a true story.
It's true story, like inverted commas, but it's a alien abduction, 1993.
It's horrifying.
It's an Arizona blogger. It's a true story. It tells the story. It's got DB Sweeney in it. I remember watching it about 20 years ago, and I will admit there are some scenes where I'm like, "Oh, this is actually fucking scary."
Yeah.
So this is the thing. Arizona has got a really, really deep roster. A very deep bench of movies. To bring to the table, so I can see that
lose to the Wraith,
endlessly. There is something that I forgot to do before we started recording, because as we know, what we're doing,
I thought about that,
is following on the road trip. So we know where we're going next week. Now, the state that we're going to be going to is the state that I currently live in. We're heading to the state of Texas, a big state, lots of movies. Last year, our champion was Friday Night Lights. Now, there was a movie that a lot of people suggested that I want to bring to the table. So I've actually got one that I'm bringing to the table right now. So I'm going to need you guys to help me pick another one. So to take on Friday Night Lights, the movie that I want to bring is...
Varsity Blues.
Yes. Hell or High Water.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
So it's a movie that I initially didn't pick the first season around because technically it's shot in New Mexico. But by the time we got to North Carolina, we had Beth Trapman on the show. We finally really addressed the set in versus shot in. As someone who lives in Texas, as someone who drives around the state a lot, as someone that understands Texans, the Hell or High Water is a very, very Texas movie. And I really want to get into the, I think it's got a really strong chance of taking Friday Night Lights. But while we're here, even with Adam, you can absolutely join in on this conversation. We need to find one other movie, a Texas movie, to bring to the table so people can watch ahead if they want to. Will, any suggestions? You've got a look on your face.
I mean, my first instinct is Paris, Texas, which is a fantastic movie. I think it is 3 hours though, and so I know that could be kind of like hard for people to do. But I love that movie. I only saw it like for the first time like a year ago and loved it.
It was very much suggested from comments when I do talk about Texas movies. Though at the same time, the most popular one that was often suggested is the one you chose last time, which was Giant. Which was also a 3-hour movie, but it was a banger of a movie. Yeah. Stunningly shot, beautifully acted. But Texas...
You guys did Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the horror
first State of Fear,
right?
Yeah. That was our first State of Fear.
Which that's the one I get suggested the most.
But we didn't do the Next Generation.
No, we
that's
did.
true.
McConaughey, baby. Let's go.
Let's do it. Matthew McConaughey, right?
No. Yes, but no. I'm looking at
flat out now.
I'm looking at like movies set in Texas. Holes.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's just my search history. Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah, that's the other one I was gonna say.
Bottle Rocket.
Oh yeah,
Bottle Rocket's good.
That's Texas.
Yeah, that's.
I think Wes Anderson's from Texas, right?
Yeah,
or I might be wrong.
The Wilson brothers as well.
Terrence Malick, maybe, no?
Yeah.
But Bottle Rocket, let's double check on that one. But yeah, I'm pretty sure like it's in Arizona is the first line of it.
Oh no. Killer Joe.
That sounds familiar. Brad Pitt?
It's Matthew McConaughey again.
Oh, right.
If you've seen it, you know about the chicken.
I am not. So the Bottle Rocket feature-length film shot in Dallas, Fort Worth, and Hillsborough, Texas.
Where was Bone Tomahawk shot?
Oh God, no.
God, you guys are just scared of movies where people get sawed in half. I'm sick of it.
So look, so I've never seen Bottle Rocket. It's described as Reservoir Dogs meets Breathless in a West Texas sensibility.
Done.
It's definitely been a hole in my filmography. It's like where the Wilson brothers came from.
Hey, let's fill that hole.
Should we fill that hole? All right.
Bottle Rocket's great. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Okay, so
I've never seen it.
Neither have I. So the movie
There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood. It's
I think we brought that up. That's more New Mexico.
That had a specific one as well. So the movie we're trying to topple next week as we head to Texas is Friday Night Lights. The two movies that we're bringing to the table to do that are Hell or High Water and Bottle Rocket. As always, check YouTube first. If you want to find a movie, you'd be surprised. Also, something that both Ryan and Adam do, that if you are close enough to a public library and you have a library card, you can use the app Hoopla. So you can stream your movies for free if you are so interested as well. And if you're always looking for where can I find my movies, there is a great app called Just Watch that you can use on the web, or you can download the app and it will tell you exactly where movies are streaming. So while here in Arizona, as we leave Arizona behind with the Wraith still in charge, we're starting our long road trip to Texas. It's going to be a whole day of just driving in Texas. But once we get there, we're going to be seeing if we can take out that champion that was Friday Night Lights, which was a very, very Texas movie. Adam, thanks a lot for joining us for this episode, man. That was great to have you along. Great to have have the band back together. Quite fun.
Never again.
Will, I'm fascinated by your takes. I'm interested to see which movie you shit on next week. It'll be fantastic.
I'm coming for you, Hell or High Water.
Oh my God.
I very publicly have loved for years.
I love that movie so much as well. So If you want to get involved, if you don't already, guys, if you're watching us on YouTube, do a favor, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Jump in the comments as well to be able to tell us all the things we're doing wrong, because you know what? Any interaction online is good for the algorithm. You can also find us on our Facebook page, The United States of a Movie. You can find me as That Englishman in Texas, or you can find me as Ollie Pettigrew on Facebook, usually most Mondays. I'll be talking about movies outside of the rest of the time, where I'm usually talking about Texas. You can find Will online as entitled Willennial. It's a great TikTok. It's honestly, if you want to follow that and hear about movies or learn about movies maybe you've never seen before. Ryan does incredible designs, much like the t-shirt that I'm currently wearing, but he also does redesigns of very famous movie posters and things like that. So if you're a movie fan, check out his Etsy, his Threadless, Rhino Digital, RYNO Digital. And Adam, do you have anything interesting that we can find out? What are you up to? What's going on in your life?
I'm Batman.
He is Batman, and as always, he spends...
Oh, shit.
World exclusive reveal right here.
Yeah,
he is
suburban Tempe.
He's got the chin for it.
You do. Well, look, guys, it was a great week. Thank you for this. Some really fun movies, some ones to get into. Next week's going to be fun as well as we head to the state of Texas. But from Ryan, from Will, from Adam, and from me, thanks for joining us for this episode of the United States of a Movie Podcast.